You see, like, unlike our country here, one of the things I thought was pretty cool there was the they restore. We typically in the U.S., I mean, we have stuff that there's history to, and we have old buildings, but nothing like Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see like post offices that was a I don't know. It was. I think I need some mental acuity pills right now because I'm blanking. I think it has to do with my age. This shit gets scary. Castles is what I'm trying to say. Fuck. Not coming up with words.
You need memory pills. I have some.
Fuck. Fuck.
Maybe you need more coffee.
Well, you know what happened is last night I slept like a dead person. I think I'm still asleep. And I trained and everything, but I think I'm asleep still. I'm not kidding you. I slept so fucking tight that when I got up, I couldn't wake up. I was like drugged. I wonder if Tina's trying to kill me.
Slowly.
No kidding. I feel I've been sleeping really good lately.
Mm-hmm. But you're not really getting. Maybe you're not getting rest.
I think what it is right now is I'm actually asleep, but I'm walking, or I'm up and doing things, but I'm actually asleep.
I know what you mean.
I'm sleepwalking.
I know what you mean.
That's what I'm doing.
When I was having like adrenal fatigue, that was what I was doing.
Well, I'm sleepwalking right now. I'm actually asleep.
Do you even remember what we talked about 5 minutes ago?
I'm actually asleep.
Hey, do you remember what we talked about 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
What?
We talked about a few things.
Okay, tell me what's the first thing we started with on the podcast.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
It's because I'm asleep.
Probably. I bet you.
I tell you what, though. Sleeping as well as I'm sleeping right now.
Maybe you're not sleeping that well.
Bullshit. I tell you what. I mean, I kind of like being like this because at about 10:30 or 11, I'm going to be awake. Right now, I'm not fully awake.
You like not being fully awake?
Well, because I know I got a great sleep and I feel good. My body feels good.
Okay. Maybe you just feel that good.
But
you're just
my
relaxed.
mind is not catching up yet. But you know why? I know what I was trying to say. The transition. That's the word I wanted to use.
Okay.
We're talking about you're giving your son the why.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm transitioning to why. And do you know why 95% of the trainers that get into the industry don't make it?
Oh my gosh. Why?
Because they don't know the three components.
You sure about that?
To the degree that where they can explain why.
You sure about that?
No.
You think?
I'm pretty damn sure. Well, let me test you.
Okay.
You call yourself a trainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moment.
I think every trainer is going to be different because one, they all learn the basics.
How do you know that?
Because that's how you get certified, learning the basics. And then I think that some take it to the next level and use themselves as that firsthand experience. So then those ones learn it a little bit different. And then I think it depends on the clientele that you've had because people are so different. So you experience things with certain clients, which then makes you step out of whatever you're kind of used to, and then you learn something a different way. And I think that then from that point, some learn things and some don't. because they were forced to do it. Does that
So
make
why-
sense?
No. So why
Yes,
did
it does.
No, it doesn't. Why did 95% of them fail? That's a stat. They fail.
Maybe because they don't have a fitness mentor to help broaden their knowledge.
I think it's because they don't really take time to understand the three components that are responsible for changing the body in the most efficient way.
That's incorrect. And you want to know why that's incorrect? Because there is an infinite amount of knowledge out there that you're never going to learn the max of it. You're going to have to continue to grow and learn more and learn more and learn more. So even if you tested a trainer now compared to testing them 10 years from now, it's going to be a completely different result.
Well, yeah, if they keep evolving.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it still doesn't change. How do you, okay, so if the problem is that 95% of people are failing, how do you shorten that learning curve? Am I keeping you up? You're
No.
yawning like a...
I think that you could shorten it by asking questions to someone who knows everything, or like at least knows a lot more than you. So for example, like with me, I learned the basics and then I learned things for myself and firsthand experience, but then sometimes I'd randomly have a question and I'd come and ask you. Well, what if I wouldn't have came and asked you? I would have never learned.
What's the most important macro?
Protein.
Why?
Because our body's made up of mostly protein. Everything. That's a quote from you. Everything in our body is made out of protein. You know, I've heard you speak so much in my 7 years of working here that when I say something that you've taught me, I actually quote you word for word sometimes. It's actually really funny. Jose does the same thing. Like if a client says something, we will say it the exact same way because it's like a quote from you that we've heard so much.
Is it a quote or is it like I keep repeating myself?
Well, you repeat yourself, but then when it comes out of our mouth, it's a quote, word for word. You know? You do know because I've said it to you before, and you're like, that's exactly what I say. Was that your test?
Pardon me?
Was that your test?
What test?
You said you were going to test me.
Well, that was part of
Oh, okay.
the test.
Plus, you need to have protein to help build muscle. And the more muscle ratio you have to your fat, the more you heat yourself up from the inside out, which means that when you're trying to burn calories, when you're doing a calorie deficiency or you're burning calories on a cardio machine, you're going to maximize that and make it more efficient. There's actually a couple of different reasons why
So what
protein
you're
is so
really
important.
saying, I'm just listening to you, and what you're really saying is that the protein is the most metabolically active. That's what you just said in a long, roundabout way.
Yeah, but you don't want to say metabolically active because if I said that to a client, they're going to be like, what?
No, because then you give them the why.
Then you give them the why, but you could just give them the why.
I think you could just give them the why if you didn't want to be thorough.
No, because that was thorough. Saying metabolically active is not going to change the result. Not saying the why is what's going to change the result. If I just told them protein's metabolically active, go have fun. But what really matters is telling them the why. Protein is the most important macro. Why? Because of this. Now be gone. Actually, I've learned from the other company that I work with and kind of do some like supplement stuff with. I don't know the details, but like us human beings, we learn at a kindergarten level. So when you write something, it has to be written at a kindergarten level. And you have to explain it at a kindergarten level or you'll lose them.
Actually, it's fourth grade.
I'm pretty sure it was a kindergarten level.
Papers right there, like the journals.
Yeah, maybe that stuff. But when you're like explaining things, of like if I was to tell somebody what protein is, you really want to make it super basic because you think that people know. You think like you're speaking to people at different levels. Like, oh, maybe they know a little bit, maybe they know a lot, but you have to do it at like this neutral level, as if nobody knows anything.
Well, I agree actually, but
That's why they make that phrase. Like, let me say this in a kindergarten level. Let me take it down a notch for you. You know?
I do know. I've been around a long time.
Exactly. There you go. Did you have another question you wanted to ask me? I mean, I'm sure I'm going to fail at one of them. That's what you're probably
I
trying
don't
to
want to
do.
trick you.
Are you percolating?
No, I'm sleeping. I'm taking it down.
You know, I remember when I was having adrenal fatigue, and I didn't know that I was having it until probably 6 months into it. Like, that's when it got really bad.
Symptom?
Well, first symptom was my eye was twitching, which I spoke to you about, and you told me that it was either caffeine or stress. So I stopped the caffeine, kind of took myself away from it, but I still was having that. So then we started to come to the solution that was probably stress. Then my stomach started really hurting. Like I had like acid in my stomach that was constantly making it hurt. And then I was becoming extremely lethargic and tired. And then I remember I was just kind of tired, like I needed caffeine, and then caffeine would get me through it. And then I was getting so tired that caffeine wasn't getting me through it. And then I was getting so tired that caffeine wasn't getting me through it. And I was like asleep in my head, kind of like what you're doing right now. I know you don't have adrenal fatigue, but yeah, I'd be doing cardio and then I wouldn't remember what happened during
I don't know
cardio.
if that's adrenal fatigue.
No, it was.
So now you're a doctor?
No, I was just taking all the symptoms from what you experienced before you had a stroke.
Mine was adrenal burnout. I guess it's similar.
Yeah.
But I didn't have those.
I also Googled. I Google a lot of stuff.
Well, if it's on Google, it must be true.
No, it's very simple to get results from Google if you ask a very specific question, like what's the symptoms of adrenal fatigue? And then when you hit every single one, I'm pretty sure it's resulting in that. And then you ask, how do you get adrenal fatigue? And then if you're going through whatever the hows are, I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to know that. So then I started taking something for adrenal fatigue. So I went to the doctor, and she just decided to tell me that it was anxiety and that I needed anxiety pills.
So you and your doctor disagreed?
No, because I didn't tell her that it was adrenal fatigue. I just went in there and said how I felt. And her first response was, it's anxiety, and you need to take anxiety pills to stop your anxiety that you're having that's just making you stressed and making you tired. And I was like, no, like I'm having anxiety because of something else that's going on in my body. So when she wanted to give me these pills, I was like, I'm going to try to take a healthier route. And then I found some pills that were for adrenal fatigue. It was everything that I was experiencing to the T. Everything that they were saying was to the T. And I decided that I'd rather try a natural remedy, something that was all natural with vitamins, than a prescribed pill. If it didn't work, then I would do the pill. But it worked, and I didn't have to take the pills, ever. Thank God, because I really didn't want to. I was like super against that. I'm scared to put pills like that inside of my body because I don't know what's in them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like chemically made. It's not good for us. There's no way that's good for us. Even if it masks whatever you're going through, it's just going to mask it. It's not really going to help it. And then she told me once you like get off of them, it might actually be worse. I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to try something else here.
Have you ever been depressed?
Yes.
To the extent that you're just laying on the couch, didn't want to move, in a fetal position, want to die?
Probably worse than that, but yes. Have you?
No.
Really?
No.
I think that, depressed there's two different things. I feel like you can be depressed even if you're not like
Functioning, like a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah,
You can
like
function and be depressed.
I think you cannot have depression but be depressed every once in a while. Then I think that there's some people that have depression and it's just something that lives with them 24/7. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I knew a girl one time that was just so bad that she just wouldn't get off the couch.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. I think that everybody and people can get to that point, but I think that it really depends on how some of them want to like what they want to do with that when they're at that point. So I think you could take that girl's depression and put it in somebody else and then have the same depression, but maybe slightly have somewhat of a different mindset, and she's laying on the couch and the other one's faking it and like putting a front and trying to keep going through even though they feel like doing exactly what she's doing. Do you know what I mean?
I'm thinking like when I was going through some rough times, I guess I don't know if I was depressed, but I think someone told me I was one time, which I didn't believe them. It's my natural response. But one of the best things that I instinctively knew to do was to work out, because when I worked out, that took me out of that state of mind, just for that moment, for that hour.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why people should work out. But it's hard when you're sad or.
It's hard to get ready and get here.
But after you do the workout or after you go through that, then you get a chemical reaction in your body, which gives you that high, that endorphin kick. But it's hard to do that. Even though you know you're going to feel better, it's hard to get to that point and actually go and do it.
I feel that that's true. And also, it's very therapeutic. Because normally if you're depressed, you're angry.
I'm angry all the time.
They come hand in hand.
So am I depressed? I'm angry all the damn time.
No. But I'm saying if you are depressed, there's some anger in there.
I hate anger. It eats me alive.
And that's a good reason why you should exercise.
You know what I do?
Take it out on people.
Well,
shut down.
I do that too, but when I'm really, really mad.
Go isolate yourself.
Yeah, I go in my car and roll the windows up. Share the conversations in there. That shit's crazy.
Really? That shit's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a fucking crazy, man.
Really?
Yeah. I'll admit that.
And nobody knows that you're in there talking to yourself?
I don't know. I'm hoping not. But
it could also look like you're on the phone.
Music on, and I'm going off in a fucking tirade. I think that's the only way, when I get to that point, that's the only way to fix myself, because it's all this pressure built up. I've seen crazy people talking like
oh yeah,
I have.
Like homeless people that are walking around. You're like that? Oh, that's scary.
Don't tell anybody.
That's scary.
But I'm in my truck.
Yeah. So you're doing it the right way.
Going off. Well, the crazy person I'm telling you about was right in front of me. They were tweaking, the homeless person. But I am that guy in my truck.
Wow.
But it seems to work.
I don't do that.
Temporarily.
I
don't know why I have so much anger, frustration. I shouldn't.
When I get to that point, I definitely don't do that. But I talk to myself in my head. That's scary. You don't ever want a girl to talk to herself in her head. You don't want a girl to have a conversation.
You're all fucking crazy.
No, you do not want a girl to have a conversation with herself in her head. That is a dangerous spot.
How can you not want that when you guys are constantly doing that? You have this record that's not shutting off.
Because, I'm crazy. So, note for guys, if there's a problem with your girl, do not let her deal with it alone. That will make your life 10 times
they
worse.
Gotta get involved.
You have to.
Bring us down.
I'm telling you right now, you don't want a girl to have a conversation with herself. You would rather communicate.
Why are you making my problem?
You'd rather communicate. Well, because clearly if a girl's having a problem in a relationship.
This is why you guys are the weaker sex. Deal with the shit on your own.
Are we the weaker?
Go in the fucking car.
Are we the weaker?
Go off.
Are we the weaker?
Well,
because
I don't know.
If we're able to communicate, That shows a strength
No,
in us that you guys do not have.
No, you don't communicate.
Guys instantly shut down. They just shut down. Nope, don't want to talk about it. Don't want to deal with it. You're being crazy. You. And then they go shut down. No.
You're making my point.
No.
You're making my point.
But see, if you just communicate with a girl.
We can't communicate with you because you're constantly interrupting us. That's why you guys say double the amount of words in a day.
I think.
And all we're doing is going.
I think your guys' lives would be so much easier if you just sat down and said.
You just did what you wanted us to do.
You know, I heard something one time.
Good.
No, listen.
I think that's called being a fucking dictator.
I heard something.
In a relationship.
I heard something one time from a woman, and she said she was talking to a guy, and the guy said, "It's so hard to talk to women," and she said, "No, it's actually
stop talking and disobey."
No, she said, "Actually, it's not that hard to talk to women. All you have to do is listen."
Yeah.
That's so accurate.
Bullshit.
If you sat there and just stopped speaking and just let your woman talk, that would do you.
That's coming from a woman.
No, listen though. That would do you so much better.
Of course it
than
would.
letting her go talk to herself. Because I promise you, she will make it 50 times worse in her head. And then when she finally does come to you, it's the wrath.
Irrational.
Like you are dead now.
Logic.
Would you rather talk when a woman's calm or talk when she's out to slaughter you?
See, you're showing your true fucking colors as a female.
No,
that's
really.
what you guys always do.
No, really.
You want to slaughter us.
Only if you make us have conversations with ourselves.
Yeah, it's our fault.
Because then what we do.
And then you bring us into your night.
I'll tell you a secret.
Fuck that.
No, let me tell you a secret. Do you want to know a secret?
I'd rather take the wrath
Let me tell you a secret.
than go into your shit every fucking time you have something to talk about.
If you make a woman.
Oh, this is bothering me. Fix me.
No.
Let's talk about it.
Well, she should, be communicating well. But if you let a woman talk to herself, then what she does is she responds for you in her head.
That happens all the time.
Okay, but then it's basically like, then when you guys finally talk, it's like you guys had some really crappy conversations leading up to this one that she's about to have with you, and you weren't even involved.
To fucking lose it.
I'm
Your eyes
just
are
being
like
honest.
Going, like there's one around your head.
No, I'm just
like
being
the
honest.
devil.
I'm really being honest. This is how women work, and I don't care if they say that they don't. They do. Because I'm not a crazy woman. So I'm sure you've dated a crazy woman before. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. I'm not. I've
Of
never.
course.
No.
You might be in denial.
No, I really have never done anything crazy. Honest to God, never done anything crazy. Can I be a bitch? Yes, definitely. But we all can. So coming from someone who isn't crazy, I'm letting you know. You do not want us to have conversations with ourselves in our head and speak for you. Because we will do that. So for example, if you're arguing with your wife, maybe you forgot your anniversary. Okay? You forgot the anniversary. And legit, you really just forgot the anniversary. That's really what it is. You just really forgot. If you do not communicate with her about it right at that moment, she will get pissed, she will leave, she will have a conversation with herself, and how that conversation will go is something similar to this. He forgot our anniversary, which means that he does not love me, which means that he is probably interested in somebody else. You know what? I have noticed that he's been on his phone a lot more.
Oh my
he
God.
has.
No, you're not crazy. You're not.
Listen.
No, you're not.
That's what I'm telling you is if you let a woman have a conversation with herself, all she can do is just start.
You talk about high maintenance. Oh my God.
All she can start doing is coming up with these answers that you're not giving her.
Exactly.
So if you don't give her answers, she'll make her own up. You don't want that.
Mm-hmm. You know that you're never looking for a real solution in that sense, right?
But that's because the man forces you to have a conversation with yourself. Because if
forcing you to have a conversation with yourself.
Yes, because if a guy doesn't want to talk about it and shuts down, like as soon as the argument happens and they're like, nope, done, not doing this, the girl walks off and she's like, oh my God, like, he's not talking to her. So she's going to go and talk to herself and respond for you in her head when all you could do is just be like, look, honestly, I seriously forgot. I've been working a lot. That's been on my mind. And I just, I don't even know what the day is. Truly. That's really what happened. Okay, there you go.
In theory, that sounds good. But in real life, it doesn't work that way.
Just talk. I'm just saying, men, just talk. Just communicate.
You know what I hear all the time? Because what you're saying, to some degree, I think I'm starting to wake up. To some degree, what you're saying it makes some sense.
I'm just
But
giving
in real
you
life,
secrets.
it makes no sense at all. Because here's what I hear, what I'm trying to explain. Because I have had times where, okay, let's say in this case, I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But all I hear is from the female, you just don't get it. You just don't get it.
Yeah, okay,
And
so
I'm like, get what?
that's true.
See, that's what I said. You don't get it.
Totally.
How
Okay.
can I talk to you if I don't get it?
You're completely right in that area. But that is where most people do not know how to communicate. So then there's just a problem with the communication there. So that's good that you sat down. You're like, okay, yeah, let's communicate about it. You didn't make her go have a conversation with herself. Great, awesome. First step's done. Second step is you have to hope to God that you both are able to communicate. I've been in a relationship where we've argued about the same thing maybe 5, 6 times, but on the 6th time, I said it
So it's right.
differently. No, I said it differently than all the other times, and then it's like, blink, it clicks. Same
That's
thing
right.
with the
See,
guy.
When you said it differently, you started thinking like a man.
No,
There you go.
no, that's not what I'm saying. It's just like maybe you say it a certain way where the person's like finally like, oh,
Yeah, because you
I
say
get
it
it
in
now.
a way in the beginning that is
Maybe
based
girl's
on
way.
hysteria.
Possibly. Same thing goes for a guy. I've had a guy that's told me something and told me something and told me something, and then finally he said it a certain way, and I was like, oh, that makes sense now. You should have said that from the beginning. But
Of course you should have.
you don't know. You're learning how to communicate.
I think communication is overrated.
Bull crap. That's inaccurate.
I think that your gender over communicates and maybe we under communicate.
I'm going to tell you right now, we don't communicate.
Who doesn't?
So my generation does not communicate.
Your gender.
Oh,
is what I
gender.
said.
Us women want to communicate?
I think your gender, and that might be profiling you as a female.
Well,
But
duh, we're different, okay? Males and females are
over
different.
the years in here, working with females, I will say this. It's made me a better communicator, but boys have been a work in progress.
I understand.
It's too much fucking work.
That's because we'll tell you what we're thinking. We're not afraid to express our emotions like guys are. You guys are like always emotionally detached.
We have to be.
Why?
It's a tough world out there. I don't think the boys that are growing up now feel that same exact way. It's a different deal, but
I don't know about that.
I just figured this way. I think most of the guys that are listening to this will agree with me. It doesn't matter what we say, even if we're innocent, you will think we're not. And that's the fucking truth. Even if we are, you will not believe us at all.
That could go the same way here with women. I've been in situations where something has been completely true, but I am guilty. So, no, that's not just a gender thing. That's a person thing. Do you have another one you want to throw my way? I
No.
think that communication is key to any successful relationship. And growth. And then communication with the growth.
Drives me nuts.
We constantly are growing and changing. Would that be accurate?
No.
Bull crap. Bull crap. You've changed a whole bunch since I've known you, and that's 7 years. I'm sure you've changed a lot from the 20-year-old you.
Well, yes, since 20.
Okay, so we grow.
You're saying we're constantly growing.
Yes,
I'm not constantly growing.
You're constantly growing. Yes, you are. Oh my God, you're so full of so much crap. You continuously are looking up new stuff. You're continuously trying to better yourself. You're continuously trying to be.
I didn't say I wasn't constantly growing. I was generalizing. Fuck.
I'm
Take
talking.
me to task, will you?
I'm talking about. Okay, maybe not like really, but
What's
we
wrong?
do.
Can't you use your communicational words now?
No, because I am saying
you're a communicational.
we all do grow.
Yeah,
I am saying that.
Females are so good at communicating, but yet you can't fucking communicate right now.
I'm telling you right now.
What do you mean? Use your fucking words.
Most of us grow. Most of us. Maybe there's a
That's
few
what
that
I'm
don't.
saying.
Maybe
Most
a few don't. Okay.
I am constantly growing.
Okay. So for the handful that are constantly growing, which I feel is like 95% of the people in the world.
That are growing?
Yes.
No, especially trainers. Huh? That's why 95% don't make it.
As humans, maybe not in the area of your work or something, but as humans, you're constantly growing. And so I think that's why people grow apart, because they're constantly growing. And if you don't keep communicating, then you're going to grow apart. You know what I mean?
So, that being said, if you're a female or a male, they're going to get married to each other. And so you really have to be able to communicate before we get married. Is that correct?
Yes.
So how do you know that's going to happen? Because, you know, when you first get into a relationship and you're first married, it's that honeymoon phase. Okay, that's a whole different deal, communication there. When all that goes away, all that bullshit, that facade.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to the point where you can't stand that person chewing
Uh-huh.
their voice.
Yes.
The way
Then
they
what?
Look, the way they go like this, you know, all that. All of a sudden, all this shit that you didn't even notice when you were communicating like bandits.
That's
All of a sudden, it's like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know she chewed like a fucking cow when she was eating.
that is really how it goes. That's so funny. Because I've been married, and that is exactly how it goes.
Okay. So how do you communicate then?
I think that's why 50% of marriages.
Actually, it's 60-some% now. It's higher than 50.
Look it up on your phone.
No.
I've heard that the recent stats.
That's bullshit.
That's what
You
I've
want to
heard.
bet on it?
Look it up.
I have to do all your work. Let me see here.
I'll look it up. It'll probably be quicker if I look it
I
up.
don't think so. I have an Android. Stupid ass.
What
iPhone.
percentage of
Are you
marriages
already there?
end
Jesus.
in divorce? 50%.
No.
I swear to God, do you want to see it? See, I'm already guilty of lying before you even freaking do.
It's higher than 50%.
So you're calling me a liar.
What's the question that you're asking Google?
What percent of marriages end in divorce?
50%? That's a bunch of bullshit.
50%.
I find that very suspicious.
Okay, so 50% of marriages end in divorce, and that's exactly why, because they think that honeymoon stage is going to be their life forever, and this is their soulmate, and blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
blah, 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 yeah.
And then they get married, and then so actually, I have been listening to a relationship therapist lately.
They're gone.
No, and she explained it in a little graph.
You know they're more fucked up than you are.
Now listen, she explained it in a graph, and it made so much sense. And you know why it made so much
She's
sense?
talking female logic.
No, because it actually is what happened in my marriage. I mean, to a T. It was nuts. But it's true, and she shows you where it leads to the 50%. So she said that 50% of marriages end in divorce, 50% stay together. In that 50% that stay together, 60% have had an affair. Doesn't mean they divorced. They've just had an affair. And then I can't tell you the numbers from that point. Then she goes down to saying like a certain percent of those people that had the affair stay together, but they just become business partners because they have kids. And then another percent is genuinely actually happy. And then the other percent goes towards, I think, like another divorce or something. But I was like, wow. So when she breaks it all down, really, the odds are completely against you. Completely. Because there's like only 20% of marriages that are genuinely happy and stay together forever.
So why did you want to get married?
Exactly. Holy crap. I'm like, well, My marriage was doomed before it even started.
There you go.
It is because you have to have tools.
So are we that bad at communicating that only 20% can make it?
Get this. She also made this point that so then 80% of marriages, now doing the math that 20% are actually happy, 80% of the marriages really are not successful.
Wow. What a death sentence that is.
So then she said, somebody pointed out to her that if something had an 80% failure rate, it would be closed down by the government.
So why?
Like a beach, if 80% of people were getting bit by a shark, they'd close down the beach. But it's super easy to get married these days. Everybody's just doing it, blah, blah.
I think that's the answer.
That everybody's doing it?
I think that it should be really, go back to the old days.
Oh, this should be harder to do?
Really hard to get a divorce. Look, you made this commitment, you fuckers.
Yeah.
Okay? Stay in it.
So think of it like
get
this.
Out.
Think of it like this.
What's the Hunger Games? Get in the ring, fucking fight
People
it out.
People are so freaking weak, they need to stop giving
Punch
up.
It out.
It's like they give up as soon as it gets hard. So get this. Anything that you're extremely successful at, you have to work for it, right? I mean, how easy was your business?
Yeah, no. You have to
work at it, work for it.
Yeah.
So how easy was it to make your own?
You're making my point. It's just too hard to be involved with you guys.
But you
because you guys want to talk about shit.
But you want to put that effort
having voices in my head. Can you help get the voices out of my head? Wait, I know, honey, that you have to go to work.
Wait.
But before you go to work, can you get the voices out of my head? I need to communicate with you. Oh, you don't want to do that with me? You don't fucking love me.
Hey, but
I will fucking kill you.
Communicating and paying the bills, think of it as like that. You have to pay the bills for a business.
It's a death sentence.
You have to pay the bills for
Let's just follow
the business.
Let's just follow the data, for fuck's sake. It's a death sentence.
So if everybody put
Let's
that
go
effort
do that.
into a marriage, all the effort that you put into this business.
All bullshit.
Well, no, not true, because you're still married and you have a successful relationship.
I don't think that you even have to have things in common with your mate.
No, you don't.
I don't think it matters.
No.
I think you just go outside and
pick someone.
You're mine.
No, that's actually what she said. So she said that there's myths.
Let's get married.
There's myths out there.
We don't need to live together.
This is what dooms everybody. And the biggest myth is that there's a person out there for everyone. And that person's just waiting for you. And it's not true. And that we all have soulmates, it's not true whatsoever. And that's why she breaks this down. Like, if that was accurate, 80% of you are losing your soulmates. So they're not soulmates. But she said that what makes you have a successful marriage is the mindset. If you choose that that's your person forever, no matter what, and the other person chooses that you're the person no matter whatever what, like, there's no getting out of it, then that relationship will have a successful relationship. But they have to have the tools.
But can you imagine
to have a successful relationship?
Can you imagine being in that kind of a relationship? I'm actually being devil's advocate on my own suggestion. Saying that we should just pair up. But can you imagine sticking it out in that relationship? It's violent. It's abusive, and you got kids that watch that.
Yeah. But again, going back to the tools. Listen, so tools. There's tools in building a successful business. Are there not?
There are.
Exactly. You're staring at it right now. There's tools. And you have to come up with those tools either on your own or you get taught them. That's why I truly do feel now that in a relationship, it would be really good for every relationship to get some kind of like relationship therapist in there to kind of just have tools, even if there's no problem, just to have the tools so when they do happen, when they do happen, you know how to handle it. So when you know that your business is about to fail, who would you go to? Another business partner that's very successful and like, hey, here's my situation. What do I do? Oh, well, this is what I did. Okay, same thing in a relationship. You need to have tools. Sense. And then you have a better chance. I mean, who knows if it's like for sure, but you have a better chance. But people just give up. That's why businesses, there's your 95%. It's the same thing in relationships.
Same but different, huh?
Uh-huh. Most people fail at a lot of things. And it's because they're not willing to put that work in. They're not willing to put their pride aside and be like, yeah, I actually do need help from somebody else. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. true.
It's true. It's true.
Same thing with depression. I've heard. No, I haven't heard. This is my personal opinion from my depression, because I was in depression for probably 6 years, if I'm being really accurate here. I was probably depressed for 6 years. Even though nobody could tell. It was like a deep internal thing. But I actually reached out for help probably around 3 years of the depression. But before that, it was like my family would say, hey, you need to go see somebody. I was like, no, I can do this on my own. Okay. No, you really need to go see somebody. No, I can do this on my own. And I'd like Google stuff and try and do like, books and stuff like that. And then finally one day I was like, you know what? I can't do this on my own. And then I went and reached out to a therapist. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And I was like shaking when I did it. I was near crying. And then I tried not to go to the first appointment. I was trying to come up with any excuse to not go to the first appointment. But I pushed myself anyways. And I didn't want to talk when I got there. And then I realized once I started talking and I started letting her in and really expressing how I felt, I realized that was strength. Like reaching out and saying I needed help and putting my pride aside, that was strength. I was being weak for 3 years, being like, oh, no, I've got this. I'm strong. I can do this on my own. No, that was really weakness. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I did see one strength that I thought was really good. So I can kind of agree with you. Because when I got divorced.
Oh, yeah.
I had to learn tools. Mainly, I was more concerned about getting learning tools for the kids. That, and I wanted to figure out what was going on. But the first shrink that I went to was a female. She had more problems than I did. Seriously.
You do run into those too.
I mean, she was fucking judging me right off the bat.
Yeah, I had one that did that too.
So, I'm going to share with you. You're like attacking me right now.
Yeah.
Give me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But, so I left that. When I found he was actually the person I ended up going to was actually a professor or a teacher at the community college. Psych 101. Everybody loved him. Mr. Hamilton. I can't remember shit, but I can remember that. I'm really starting to wake up now.
Well, good. Whew. It's not 10.
But he made it to where I actually look forward to going every week. He told me at some point, he goes, "You're healed, basically." I said, "But no, I want to keep coming." I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. You liked those tools that he was giving you.
Well, I liked that he was pulling shit out of me.
Yeah.
Making me understand the why.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's the tools.
Because I have a tendency to self-sabotage. I'm not really quite sure. I still do that.
I think some of us kind of do that without knowing.
Undermine. I mean, even clients do that here. You notice that? Like
yeah.
When you have a client that starts making progress, they start sabotaging their own. Why the fuck is that? Why do we do that?
I think it's an internal thing, like something that we don't even know we're doing.
Tony Robbins, he said in his books that the human nature responds to pleasure and pain. So where are you in that as a client who's trying to better themselves? Because that's what we're trying to do, is help people become a better version of themselves,
mm-hmm.
which is a hard thing to do because of what I'm saying, because so many people, most people don't make it in these places. They really don't. Most people do not follow through.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you over the years that the best retention rate I've ever gotten from clients as an average when I was doing when I was in it. I mean, I'm not doing personal training like I was before, but I used to track that. And if you could get a person to be with you 8 months was huge. 8 months. I mean, that's a lot, but it's kind of not. And yet, when you take a look at the stat, most people give up in 27 and a half days is the stat. When people start a program, in 27 and a half days, the majority of the people start transitioning out. Okay, now, some of them, I'm sure, are transitioning because, you know what, if the honeymoon's over a little bit, now it becomes work. It's kind of like a
yes,
right? And maybe that's what it is right there. The minute it starts becoming a little bit of work,
probably.
it's a good thing to know as a trainer. It's a good lesson to learn and know that, because the mark of a good trainer, not only a program, but I think a trainer, is that they sense and they know that these kinds of things are going to happen. So what do? They keep it interesting. A great trainer keeps it interesting. They are being proactive. Like I've always been, where I'm trying to read that person constantly. And when I start feeling like, okay, they don't have the same kind of enthusiasm that they did, it's natural. Matt Shrink told me one time, he said, look, he said, he said, who's the most beautiful woman that you think? And I gave him a name. I forget what it was now. And he said, at some point, that's going to become very routine.
Didn't you do Crawford?
I think it was Cindy Crawford.
I think you told me that, yeah.
Yeah. And he said, believe it or not, as beautiful as you think that she is, and this is relationships,
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most part, I don't think necessarily, there's a certain percentage of maybe that doesn't apply, but he said at some point this is going to become routine, and you won't see her in that light. So people, when they're working out, they come in firing their ass, and they got all these goals they want to reach, and they're coming in. You almost, as a trainer, you have to push them away and hold them back, so they keep coming.
Yeah.
Because they overdo it. All of a sudden they get burned out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's to keep people around. The people are constantly sabotaging.
I think they just are doing that, period.
And I think that one of the best ways is to be, and again, I don't know if this is maybe it shouldn't apply in just a regular relationship between man and woman, but maybe it needs to be highly consequential.
What, like divorce?
Well, I don't know if it's divorce, but I know with clients, if you make it more consequential, maybe you get a longer lasting client. I don't know, but people just do that all the time.
Yeah.
But I will say that Shrink, he probably saved me in a way, as far as how to deal with children, because I think they get the brunt of this sometimes. And the interesting thing about children is that they're more resilient in a lot of ways than the adults. We worry about that, and I think it's something very important to worry about. Surprisingly, they're pretty tough, actually. But just having those tools just makes it, even my kids told me not too long ago, they said, we never saw you and Mom fight, like when we were divorced. Mm-hmm. And there was one blow up that we had on the telephone where the kids were, I didn't know that. This is like we were just out a few months splitting up at that point. And, everything's very emotional, irrational to the maximum at that point, because, it's something might be coming to an end. Mm-hmm. It's hard, and so then I got in a fight on the telephone. Well, my kids were listening to my ex. She was going off on me like I was going off on her, but they were hearing that. I didn't know they were listening to that. That takes me back to the days when my mom and dad got divorced. And it's like, holy shit. So what you want to do, the natural thing that you want to do, like when you see your kids, like after I realized that they heard that, I think what some people do is they put the kids in the middle, not really on purpose, but when they see the kids, it's like, your dad or your mom didn't have to do that. The minute you do that, all of a sudden you stuck your kids in the middle where they have to choose, because they love both their parents. Mm-hmm. And I remember that. And that's exactly when I found that out, that's exactly what I wanted to do. But because my shrink that I went to Hamilton, he gave me tools,
Yeah.
And instead of putting the kids in the middle, he just gave me something simple. He said, look, when you see them, even though you want to say that to them, he said, just say, I know that you heard your mom and I arguing. I'm sorry. It'll never happen again. That was it. But then you got to make sure it never happens again.
Yeah.
But it did. Does it put them in the middle? It's a tough deal.
Yeah.
for all involved. That's life, baby.
It is. I think, see, with my divorce, we divorced, we broke up when I was 6 months pregnant. So it's not like my son was ever going to, like, see anything. But, even then, being months old, he wouldn't have even noticed that we were together. So my son really never saw me with my ex. And once he was aware of our relationship, we had already gotten out of the toxic part of it. But even during then, like, I remember, I don't know who had told me this, but a baby can feel the stress even in the womb, and then they can feel it if you're like holding them or rocking them. They can feel it through your heartbeat. So I made it really a point that if I was ever having anxiety over it, if we were fighting, I was never in the same room with my baby. He was put in a crib, or he wasn't on my arms.
Did you guys fight when you're still pregnant? Were you guys fighting?
Yeah. But that I couldn't stop that. Like, I was going through some stuff, and I just was like, I just hope to God I don't have a miscarriage. I hope that, he comes out calm and doesn't have an effect from it. But no, yeah, that was very bad while he was in my stomach. And then after, if I was ever sad about it or crying, I just made sure he was like sitting next to me and he couldn't like hear it if he was an infant or anything like that. Or mainly I did drives. I would go for a drive. I'd turn on music. And he was an infant, so his seat was facing that back towards like the back of the car, and the music was on, and so he couldn't see me, he couldn't hear it. That was how I got through most of it. And then when he got older, I made it a point to keep a really good relationship with his dad, even though it was something that nobody supported, nobody liked, but it was because I wanted him to see that we could have a good relationship past it. Like, he's never going to know our past. He doesn't need to. And to this day, he's 7 years old, and we recently had a little trip where I took him to go see his dad, and he had a good time with his dad, blah, blah, blah. And on the way back, he, like, was legit honest, and he was like, I love my family. And I was like, really? And he goes, yes, I love my family in Texas, I love my family in Florida, and I love my family in California, and I have the best family. And I was like, that is great. And he was like, I love how you and Dad are. I love it. I'm like, we're friends. And he goes, I know. There you go.
That's a tough one for me.
Oh, well, it took a while to get there. And it's fake sometimes. But that's what I wanted him to see. So I've never talked bad about his dad. He's never seen us argue.
That's a good thing.
And then, when his dad has somebody else, he's going to see me like there welcoming that person with open arms. That's just, he doesn't, that's the best I could do under my circumstances.
Actually, parents, it took me till I was 40 something before I let go of baggage that my mom and dad, look, I'm not saying this and holding anything against them. I'm just explaining from my perspective. I think that the way they did stuff
through the divorce,
yeah, and it was harmful.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. I did carry baggage from that.
It's easy for that to happen.
I was 40. No, even though I got rid of, the baggage, I think, like I said, I don't know why, but I think I'm not angry over that, but I think I'm an angry person sometimes, and just part of my nature, I guess. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. But the thing I was going to say was what they did was the best they could do at that time.
Yeah.
And it might not have been that good. It could have been worse because I know, you see kids that are getting abused all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't like
they're in the middle of things.
I don't like using that stuff as an excuse because, you can still fix yourself, and it just like until 40 to just finally I got it off my back and put it on them. It's like, this is not my problem. I got caught in the middle of it, but it's not really my problem. I'm on the end of it, but it's your problem. And I think that happens with people, even like when friends, when you give somebody else power to make you upset and emotional, it's a tough thing because somebody else is in charge of your emotions. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be an emotional being. You're not going to respond to people. But I think what happens a lot of times is people think they put too much stock into somebody else, their opinion of you,
Yeah.
and you lose sight of who you are.
I think that has to do with insecurity, though.
Yeah, it's
You have to be a little insecure if somebody else's opinion matters more than your own.
yeah, but people do it all the time.
But I mean, we don't know how many people are 100% secure with themselves.
Well, I don't know if anybody really is.
Yeah, exactly.
Always fighting that. Am I keeping you up? You're yawning like a big cow.
I yawn all the time, whether I have coffee or not.
Oh my God! You know what that is? As a trainer, you don't know what that is?
That means that I need oxygen to my brain.
Oxygen deprivation.
Yeah, but I don't really know how that's possible because I'm sitting here breathing.
I have a trick for you. Breathe through your nose, because your air is not getting into the cell. You breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. What are you doing that for?
I'm breathing through my nose.
Deep. It gets to the cell.
Okay, I'll start working on that.
The mouth through the mouth, it doesn't get through that to the cell.
I don't know if I'm breathing just through my mouth. I
No,
think I
I'm just
breathe
saying.
through all of them.
Well, you do, but I'm just saying that if you're yawning a lot, breathe through your nose. Kara, this is your mouth.
Yes, I know. I was yawning right now.
Oh, I thought you were trying to gasp for air.
No, I was about to yawn again.
Oh, well, fuck.
I yawn when I train too.
Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense.
And then clients will do it. And they're like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, no, we just started. You're really not that tired.
Do you have anybody coming in today?
No.
Kelsey?
Yes.
So no or yes?
I didn't know what today was.
That's scary.
Today's Thursday, right? Yeah. I have a client today and tomorrow.
I just went to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway, I guess that's all for today. If I had a chain that was that tight around my neck,
I can't even feel it.
it causes me anxiety looking at it.
You said that before. I can't even feel it.
Ugh.
I forgot I even had.
Those rings on your finger causes me anxiety.
Really, a ring? You don't even feel them.
I do. Like I can feel like it getting tighter, strangling me tighter. Uh-oh, I think I still have some deep issues I haven't
Then
resolved.
it would be hard for you to wear clothes. Because clothes are literally laying on your skin.
Well, I know, but I mean, a ring doesn't allow you to breathe. There's no. You
I
can't.
mean, it really does. Look, you see all that space in
Oh
between?
my God! It's just very little space that you can breathe in. Exactly.
That's
Just
about how
very
much your shirt lays off of your skin.
little- Anyway, okay. So today we're gonna go ahead and finish up Bulletproof.
Yeah, as soon as you let me go.
Okay, we're gonna let you go. And I sure enjoyed having this conversation. Long, drawn-out conversation.
Very good.
Hopefully Charles can edit all this shit down into 2 minutes.
He can. Alrighty, so we're out.
Are you telling me or are you asking?
And I'm asking.
Oh, yeah, sure.